the key to like ethical sales, the key to feeling good about selling something is when we have to ask questions. The best sale starts with questions, because I need to find out if I can actually help someone. And if I can, then I can ask them permission to tell them about the product that I think is going to help. And so we're asking for permission, we're asking questions to find out what people want. And if we do that the right way and we ask the right questions, then it doesn't feel like a sale, and it's more of an interview to see, are we a good fit to work together? Your end and my end. The other person doesn't ask the questions. I'm the salesperson. I ask the questions, but it's all about finding out what they need. And it's, the other way to think about it is, I've heard people say it's like selling to serve. Like I'm finding out how I can serve you. And if I can, then I'm going to offer you the program that I think is best, or I'm going to refer you to the person that I think is best.
Welcome to another episode of the Health Coach Academy podcast. I'm your host, Omar Cumberbatch of OmarCumberbatch.com. Appreciate you, as always, joining me today. And of course, we have another fantastic guest to share with you. His name is Aaron LeBauer, and he is the host of the CashPT Lunch Hour Podcast. And he's a doctor of physical therapy, he's a certified massage therapist, and he really just comes on the show and drops some amazing business knowledge. And physical therapy and health coaching kind of go hand in hand, and we're just kind of in the same business, in the sense that we do have our own clients and we do look into having the business of results for our clients. And it's one of those things that I think his skill set and what he's been able to accomplish in that area is really phenomenal, and he can definitely share some wisdom with us. And he dropped a lot of incredibly interesting nuggets for health coaches as well as physical therapists and massage therapists. So it's really cool. So I have another announcement real quick, because I've been talking about it for some time and I'm almost on the verge of finishing up the course. And of course, it has to do with how to make podcasts for health coaches so that we can just establish ourselves in the branding space and really utilizing the podcast for leverage to grow your business. So I'm really excited that that's on the horizon. I will keep you updated. If anyone has any questions about it, give me a shout. Reach out to me at OmarCumberbatch.com. As always, please leave a rating and review on iTunes so I can continue to get amazing guests like Aaron LeBauer and people like him. You bring such incredible value to the Health Coach Academy podcast, and I really appreciate all of them. Let's jump into the show. Hey, Aaron, how are you today? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Omar, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate you inviting me.
No, this is a pleasure. I'm really excited to just dive into a little bit about your background specifically, because this isn't your first rodeo. I've seen that you've actually had a lot of things that I know that health coaches can benefit from, but I would definitely want to know a little bit about your background and just give a little brief introduction to the audience of who you are.
Yeah, I think, this isn't my first one. I've started a massage therapy practice in 1999 out in California. I moved to a different city. I was in San Francisco. Then we moved to San Luis Obispo. I started there. Then I spent a year there, moved to Greensboro, North Carolina, where I'm from, started my massage practice here, ended up going back to PT school to become a doctor of physical therapy. And then there was one day during that, my first clinical rotation in PT school, where I saw 43 patients one day. And that was the day I decided I had to do it my own way. Mm-hmm. And to put that into context is, as a massage therapist, I kind of blew through this part of my history, but as a massage therapist, people are coming to see me and saying, "Hey, Aaron, you're the first person to actually touch me where I hurt. You're the first person to help me. Like, no one's been able to, help reduce the pain that I've been having." And I've been to see chiropractors, physical therapists, massage therapists, surgeons. I've had the surgery, injection, etc., and even other massage therapists. And you're the first person to help me. And so I knew I had something going on, but what did I really understand was that, hey, I'm the one spending an hour with this person. I'm the one, looking at their whole body. And, as a massage therapist, I didn't have the ability to help them predict when their problem would go away, or even to work with dysfunction. Massage therapy is a wellness service. And so that really led me into going back to PT, is because people said, okay, when am I going to finally get better? And I went back to PT to one, become Dr. Aaron LeBauer, and two, to learn how to help people understand and get through the rehab process and how long it would take. But really, it was, I saw 43 patients one day. I'm seeing 4 people an hour. It was like a 10 or 11 hour day. It was kind of crazy. I was a student, working for free. And I realized no one's going to pay me to do physical therapy the way that I think it should be done, which was an extension of the way I'd been doing, my massage therapy and kind of like medical massage type of therapy, working with people's problems. Mm-hmm. And I said, all right, I got to start my own business, but I can't do it in the insurance model. I have to do it outside of insurance, do it cash-based. And everyone looked at me like I was crazy. My clinical instructor told me it wasn't going to work. No one's going to pay more than their copay for PT. And here I am today. I've helped thousands of other people start their own cash-based physical therapy practice. And we've taken people through the launch phase. We've opened multiple locations, hired multiple therapists, and nowadays I help people scale their business and scale their time and, help thousands of people in the process.
No, it's a beautiful story. And I think that we kind of share industries in the PT space and health coaches, because I think that's one of the things that health coaches, at least starting out, are a little fearful about because of just the insurance component. And like you had mentioned, people are kind of used to paying just their co-pays and kind of that's it. And if this health coach or like a PT isn't covered by that, they're like, I'm not going to really go in that direction. So can you talk about that a little bit, like how you were able to just establish that mind frame for your clients to actually sign up for your service and pay cash?
Yeah, I think initially, I was way undercharging, but I was doing something everyone told me wasn't going to work. But it was like, I was like, well, people will pay an extra $10 an hour of what I was charging as a massage therapist. But it's not about what you charge. It's about what we offer. And, someone posted, or I posted something on Instagram a week or two ago about how if you're a physical therapist and you never would charge more than $200 for physical therapy, you either don't value what you do for your patients or understand what physical therapy does for them. It's like, and people heard me saying, if you never do or don't, but what I'm saying is that what we do for our patients and clients is so valuable. We can't it's hard to put a tangible number on what we do. If we change someone's life, if we change their physical abilities or their lifestyle habits, and they become healthier and happier and they can do more things, like you can't put a dollar value on that. But the way I kind of transcend how what we charge is compared to insurance is we don't do typical physical therapy. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean is physical therapy is my mode of making a transformation in someone's life. But what we sell is the transformation. I sell what people want, not what I do. And so how we find out what they want is we do a kind of motivational interview, or many people call it a sales consultation, where I'm asking them questions to find out what it is they want and why it's meaningful for them. And then if I can help them get back to CrossFit and feeling strong and confident, like a good role model for their kids, they'll have no problem paying us $2,000 or $2,500 in, cash check or credit card to help them reach that goal over the course of 12 weeks.
No, I love it. So I guess one of the things that I ask a lot of the guests who come on the show, I mean, that's a really eye-opening a part that you became aware of, just that marketing part, that selling part, getting a person to realize what they actually want instead of what you do. That's a really good way to put it. Were you always good at that business part of it and that marketing part of it and that sales part of it? Can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, no. I was better at the marketing than I was at sales for a long time.
Okay.
And what happened was I got to a point where I think we were charging about $147 for physical therapy, and I'd hired my first physical therapist. And after he worked for me for a year, I realized I wasn't charging enough. I wasn't charging enough to pay him a full-time salary that would, keep him or that he was worth to me. And so we raised our rates by $100. Mm-hmm. And in order to do that, I really had to change the sales process. And that's really where I started learning sales. But I had already been doing that sales process in my coaching business. I just wasn't doing it in the clinic. And we just kind of used a very similar process in the clinic. But to back up and say, get good at marketing, the very first book I bought was called Guerrilla Marketing by J. Conrad Levinson. And that was back in 1999. And I can't remember how I got turned on to that book, but I didn't order it online. I bought it in a bookstore somewhere. And that really helped me understand that what we're doing is, especially small business owners, is the idea about guerrilla marketing isn't, it's about not doing brand advertising, not putting out a big expensive ad somewhere and just saying, hey, look at me, we're great. It's about going to people where they are, meeting them where they spend their time, and getting some kind of like direct response. It was a direct response marketing book. Like, I want them to see some kind of advertisement or promotion and contact me, or directly respond to me, or do something, or see something and then give me a call or send me an email. And I think that we weren't, I know that we weren't taught this in school, and most people aren't taught marketing and sales in school, but it's the most important skills that we can learn. But I believe that sales is more important than the marketing, because people are going to come to see you just by knowing you. And if you flub the sale, you're going to struggle no matter how good your marketing is.
So you definitely read the book Guerrilla Marketing, but what about the sales? How were you able to to convert that skill set and make it tangible in your business?
Yeah, I think initially it came through, hiring a coach to help me grow my coaching business. So I had a coach who helped me grow my coaching business and enroll people into a high ticket program at Mastermind. And I learned that sales process from him. And then I think I started to convert that into physical therapy. And what really started to click for me, I read a book, The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort. And if you have a chance and you haven't read it, get the audiobook, because he narrates it. And there's so much about tonality that he goes through. But it was the idea or concept. There are two concepts. One, you're not making a sale until someone has an objection. So the sale doesn't start until the first objection shows up. Because a lot of times we're taking people's orders. But once you have an objection show up, and then we, in quotes, handle it. And the way you handle it is by acknowledging the objection. You kind of restate it, and then you can clarify, is this really an objection or a smokescreen? And once we clarify what the objection is, and we kind of answer that question or concern, the next more important thing that most people don't do is they don't re-ask for the sale. Most people will, kind of make an excuse or, just answer a question directly. And then they'll never say, would you like to get started? They'll just be like, okay, and wait for the customer to say, hey, how can I pay you money? But it's kind of like, going to a shopping center, right? Or let's say the Apple store, right? It takes us 4 or 5 times to go in the Apple store to look at an iPhone and touch it and feel it, right? But then that one time you want to go in there and that you want to buy this, you got a half hour to buy it, and no one comes up to you and says, hey, is there anything I can help you with today? That doesn't happen at the Apple store, but it happens at a lot of places where it's like no one just asks for the sale. And I think that what we have to understand is that in the right context, the right environment, asking the right questions, asking for the sale isn't going to feel greedy or pushy or slimy. It's going to be doing a service to our customers, clients, and patients.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up the feeling part, because I was going to ask you, did you have any specific, maybe limiting beliefs or funny feelings about sales and asking for the sale and stuff like that?
Oh, I certainly did. I had an experience. I was living in San Francisco. I had a car. I had like a Jeep Cherokee, and I was racing bikes, and it got like 16 miles to the gallon. And I couldn't put my bikes in the trunk because there's a big spare tire in there. And I was just like, this car just doesn't fit me. Let me go see if I can find another car. And I was just kind of shopping around, and I went to a used car dealer. I was looking at a car there, like a Volvo. It was a Volvo 850 station wagon. It was a 5-speed. It was dope. It had a lot of space. I could put my bike on the top or in the back, and it had a 5-speed, which I really like. And I was like, great. He goes, are you thinking about trading in your car? And I was like, I don't know. He's like, well, hand me the keys. I'll go check it out and tell you what we can offer you as a trade-in. But what he did was when he came back, he held on to my keys. He told me about it, but he kept the keys on his side of the table. Even when I was like, all right, I got to go. I have to be at work in 15 minutes. He didn't want to give me my keys back. And I had to actually reach across the table and grab it. And it's those kinds of experiences around sales that put a bad taste in people's mouths or minds, like it gives you a bad feeling that I think people have had, and they go, I don't want to be like that. But he never asked me more questions about like what I wanted in a car. Would this car that he was trying to sell fit me in my lifestyle, and would I be able to, make it work? He was just more interested in making the sale and, figuring out how he could make the most money by giving me, getting a trade, and making the sale right that day, rather than giving me time to, figure out like, is this actually the car I want?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's everyone seems to have a story similar to that. And while you were telling me that story, I was thinking of my own experiences in the car world. And believe it or not, and I know this show is not about me, so I don't want to even go there. But just to echo your point, the first car that I actually bought was Saturn. The company's out of business now.
I remember those. Yeah.
Yes.
You could hit it with a baseball bat and it wouldn't dent or something.
Yeah. It was a pretty cool car. But let me tell you, the only reason that I actually bought that car is having a horrible experience at Toyota. But Saturn had basically a no haggle policy. Right. It was literally, the car is $10, period. We're not going to upsell you on it. We're not going to down. It's just, this is what it costs. And I was like, okay. It was almost like it was a sales-free experience. And yeah, so I could definitely dig like that. A lot of us have these specific things that's around cars, especially, that bug us out of it.
And so one of the things I did just yesterday was I did a masterclass for my Platinum Mastermind group on sales and how to do a sales call or a strategy call for our online programs. And at the very end, I asked everyone, I said, hey, how did that make you feel hearing this? Does it feel like this would be sleazy or coercive, or, like you were trying to convince someone? And everyone was like, no, because the key, and this is what I've had to learn, is the key to like ethical sales. The key to feeling good about selling something is when we have to ask questions. The best sale starts with questions, because I need to find out if I can actually help someone. And if I can, then I can ask them permission to tell them about the product that I think is going to help. And so we're asking for permission. We're asking questions to find out what people want. And if we do that the right way and we ask the right questions, then it doesn't feel like a sale, and it's more of an interview to see, are we a good fit to work together? Your end and my end. The other person doesn't ask the questions. I'm the salesperson. I ask the questions, but it's all about finding out what they need. And it's, the other way to think about it is, I've heard people say it's like selling to serve. Like I'm finding out how I can serve you. And if I can, then I'm going to offer you the program that I think is best, or I'm going to refer you to the person that I think is best.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I want to just touch on, because I know that, you very well versed in a variety of business aspects, but I know the most common thing that a health coach coming out of their certification programs or their schooling, they want to know what first step. Like, what do you recommend a health coach really start at least putting the time and effort into as far as steps go?
Like for marketing or for sales or or starting a business?
You know what? I'd say starting a business, because that's the thing. I think, unfortunately, and I think you can attest to it, even going to the PT route, you learn how to do physical therapy, you learn how to health coach, and then they're like, all right, see you later. Here's your thing. And, good luck.
I think, that's good point. I think there's logistics of setting up a business. So if the logistics of setting up a business is a little intimidating to you, find a coach or a course that walks you through that process, because it makes it less intimidating. I think beyond the logistics of starting a business, the best thing to do to really get business rolling is to make personal connections with people. And that's like a strategy that I teach our members. It's really to get out and meet people one-on-one, interview them. We're not asking for referrals. We're interviewing people to find out, like, how can I best serve you? Hey, I'm a health coach, and, I've got a practice here in Greensboro, North Carolina. And I know that many of my clients come into your like health food store or come into your massage therapy practice. I'm looking for another massage therapist or health coach let me back up and say, they use these services, and I'm looking for a new health store or vitamin shop or, physical therapist, massage therapist to refer my clients to. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions about who you work with and, who might be a good referral? And that opens so many doors, and I don't even have to refer someone to them, but what it does is gives me an angle on a conversation where I am helping bringing value to another provider in town or another kind of influential person in town that allows me to make a connection. And generally that gets reciprocated. So there's that. And then there's doing, other marketing strategies around, doing one-to-many like workshops. Here's a 30-minute training that I partner with maybe a yoga studio to do. Like we'll do it on back pain. And at the end, I'll offer like a free consultation, or one of the things we call it is a total body diagnostic. But it's doing those things that take some time, but those build some of the best connections and patients locally. So there's that, like that's marketing side, like if you're just getting started. And then the other side is to say, hey, make sure that on the back end, your prices, your rates, your programs, and you feel really comfortable doing some kind of interview, strategy, call, consultation to see if this person is the right fit for your coaching programs. Because if you can get the sales right, even if you only get 10 leads, you can sell, 50 to 70% of them. So you can get 7 of the 10 people to become coaching clients, and 7 people at, $500 a month is not such a bad income to get started. So.
Right. So I guess one of the things that's coming up, I had a couple of guests who I've interviewed over the past couple of days who, we get into the weeds with the branding idea and niching down and stuff like that. Do you think that's a thing? Listen, I know there's no wrong answer. I've interviewed over 100 people just specifically on this podcast, and it's interesting to hear the variations of that idea, especially when it comes to just starting out. How important is that?
Yeah, I think branding is like not important starting out. I think the things that are important starting out is it's kind of the niche, but the niche is not the mistake I see a lot of people make is they think their niche is their treatment technique or the problem they solve. And it's not the problem you solve or the technique you use to solve it. It's the niche is really getting clear on exactly who it is you help and what result you help them achieve. And explaining that in a short sentence in 4th or 5th grade language. So at our clinic, we help active people stay fit, healthy, and strong without pain meds, injections, and surgery. Pretty much everyone can understand that. It's like, oh, so that's what we do. Like my niche isn't chronic pain or myofascial release. It's helping active people in Greensboro, stay strong. I can really get it, and narrow it down. And I think if we can do that, that's not more of a niche. That's more of a unique serving proposition or selling proposition, a USP or unique value proposition. It's 3 different names for the same thing. But I think a lot of people are afraid to say, hey, I want to help everyone. But if you help everyone, you help no one. You have to be very specific about who you help and the result you help them with. And in that way, people will know that you're speaking directly to them, and they'll know you're the one to help them if you can identify who that perfect avatar is that you have and what their unique problems are.
That's interesting. Right? Like I didn't mean to cut you, but when you're the way that you phrase it is almost like a mission statement, and but it's interesting because it's kind of right in the middle. I think it's not niched down to the point where it's like what latte they drink, right. But it's still broad enough where it's like you didn't really state a demographic, you didn't really state an age, you didn't state, so is that advantageous to you? And I mean, that's something that you would recommend for us as well?
Yeah. I mean, like if you work with athletes over 40, it's like, hey, I'm athletes over 40, that's important. But I think the thing that I have all my coaching clients do is write out their avatar. And it's like, they'll post like 1 or 2 sentences, like, no, write 500 to 1,000 words about this person. And in that exercise, you do know what type of latte they order, but it's about one person. And I think that if you can identify who that person is, and that's who I'm talking to in my marketing, the other people that identify, they might not be that exact same person, but they're going to identify with it. And some people, and kind of our job as marketers is also repel the wrong people. Like, I don't want to work with the wrong people. I don't want to work with people who don't want to take be an active participant in their healing process or growing their own business. I want to work with people who are motivated to do the work, who are appreciative and grateful and value what we do, and not people who want to take advantage of us or get something for free or have someone else do it for them, because that's not what any of us do. And that doesn't make a successful result. So, I think it's about repelling the wrong people and attracting the right people.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, just, having the motivation to do the work. And one of the things that I found, me specifically, part of that is really getting the pricing right where it's going to make it worth their while. And that's really to just, make it cost what it's worth, and not being like a $5 gym. It's, you want to be one of the high end gyms. So can you talk about pricing a little bit and why we should think seriously about charging more than we're a little bit comfortable with?
Yeah. Because you don't want to race to the bottom. You don't want to be the cheapest health coach in town. Like, you also, like, you don't, because no one's going to win. People won't value your time, and you won't make enough money to do the things that you want to support your family. Because I think one of the principles are like, you can either fight to be the least expensive, or you can, kind of set a price that's high that you feel comfortable with, that most people aren't charging. And one, people say, "Ooh, why are they charging that much? Oh, there must be something different that they do." But two, the way to charge more is to not sell, physical therapy or not sell health coaching. It's to sell the result people want, the transformation. And the way that we do that is we create unique programs and products for our patients and clients that they can't get anywhere else, by giving them specific names. Like my wife's health coaching program she sells is called the Year of the Radical Shift. It's a year-long coaching program, and she's got a 6-month and a 3-month program. But most of her health coaching clients choose the Year of the Radical Shift, and it's like, I think it's like $1,800 or $2,000 paid in full ahead of time, and she gets quite a few people doing that. And I think it's one meeting a month. It breaks down to around, I think, $200 a visit, something like that. But many of the clients, sometimes they don't use them. I think but they get results because it's not about the time they spend with you or me, whether it's health coaching or, business coaching. It's not about the time people spend with us one-on-one. It's about the results that our programs help them achieve. And if we can help people get to the goal, we understand the goal and we can help them get to the goal. It doesn't really matter what it costs or how much time they spend with us, because they're getting something that they couldn't have done on their own.
No, I agree. And thank you for bringing up the fact that your wife is a health coach, because that's an important thing to recognize for the audience. And you obviously know our market, and that's one of the things that I was really excited to hear. And I like the way that she brands her stuff as well. And I think that that's something valuable. Can you talk about that just for 30 seconds before I jump into the next question? Because I thought that was something cool. Yeah.
So what we did is, when she started doing health coaching, we sat down and just kind of brainstormed some ideas and said, okay, what do we want to do? And I was like, okay, what's the minimum amount of time you want to work with someone? Because we all don't want people to be like, hey, can I just pay as I go and see if this works? Like, we know it works. It's just going to take some time. And I think, when you're a new, probably coach or therapist, you're like, well, I don't know if this really does work. Maybe we've had some results ourselves, but it's a imposter syndrome of going, well, can I really help people? If we just ask the right questions, we can. But for a lot of things, whether it's Facebook ads or, changing your diet or behaviors, it takes, months to really kind of find a groove and get some results. And so we said, okay, let's do it. And let's price it such that, we're going to encourage people to choose the program that we think is best. So, it's, here's a 3 month, here's 6 months, and here's 12. But the whole idea is to really tell people, say, hey, we could do, a 6 months or 12 months, or my recommendation really is, let's get you into this 12-month program, and it's cost this, and it's going to do these things for you. But we wanted to really incentivize people to do a longer program, because we know that the longer we spend with them, especially changing like a behavior, it's really going to we're going to get better results, right? Even with physical therapy, like I know that to really kind of like 1 or 2 visits, I can really significantly reduce your pain. But can I help you get better, faster, and stronger so this doesn't ever happen again in 1 or 2 visits? No, I have to like see you over the course of time. I don't have to see you every day, but I just have to see you over a course of time to make sure that this doesn't return.
Right.
And so we looked at that and we said, okay, what's the result we can get? Okay, I can change someone's life. I can help them, whether it's lose weight or, finally feel confident enough to start dating again, or, even like take 30 days and not drink alcohol for 30 days or cut out caffeine. What is that? And so it's not just about that result. It's what would that result do for them? And with that, we looked at, what is the result? And then how much did my wife want to make? And what does she want to price her programs at? And I was like, we're going to price this higher than, other programs, because we had 2 kids. And she's like, I only want to see, 5 to 6 people a week. And, we launched it and she got full pretty quick, and it's like, we don't even really market it because she doesn't, have as much time. But, we have people all the time asking us in our clinic PT, like, oh, I need health coaching. I mean, I noticed a message mentioned my other PTs are health coaches as well. And it's like, they're like, well, let's get people to health coaching. And we've got a lot of people who can use it. And I think, just to get back to your question, it's looking at that and saying, okay, is this price a little uncomfortable, but is it worth it if I can help change someone's life? Absolutely.
Yeah, love it. Love it. So I guess, to kind of wrap it up, because I promise you we'll do about a little 30 to 40 minutes. One of the common things, and I believe is a misconception. I know that just speaking to you for this interview and a little bit beforehand, that I know that you're going to agree with me with this. It's just a concept of saturated markets. I don't know how much more saturated the PT world is, but health coaching is saturated, no doubt about it. I think it's an illusion. I don't think it's accurate. I think that there's enough in the pie for everybody, and there's a way to carve your way to a very, very successful health coaching and PT kind of career. So am I right about that? Are you in agreement? Or
100%.
Okay, great.
So when I lived in San Francisco, everyone and their mother was a massage therapist, but not everyone actually saw 16 to 20 patients a week. I had people like, oh, I'm a massage therapist too. Like, I went to this school and they don't actually work as a massage therapist. So people are going to go get degrees and not actually, enjoy it or do it. So that's one piece. The other is, there are 350 million people in the United States, right? That's a lot of people. And there's not that many, they're not 300 million health coaches, so it might feel like there's a lot of other people doing what you're doing. At the same time, there's very few people selling a year of the radical shift. There's very few people. There's no one else in Greensboro doing a total body diagnostic for their patients with pain or injuries. And if we can create something that's unique or feels unique or sounds unique, and we can have a mindset of abundance where there's everyone could benefit from my service. Everyone can benefit in some way. There's plenty of people out there. Then there's no saturation. There's saturation if we're selling the same thing at the same price or trying to undercut other people's prices. That's going to get saturated, but it's not going to be saturated if we can kind of hone in on who our perfect person is, what the transformation is that we sell them, and create something that's unique that they can enroll in that they won't find anywhere else.
Amen to that. And one of the things I always liked about that concept of like debunking the saturation market, I always ask health coaches, can you name me 5 successful health coach, like 5 health coaches are killing it and they don't have an answer, and I find it intriguing because I look for them myself to get them on the show to just kind of speak on their experience. And lo and behold, I'm speaking to a physical therapist, right? So, my circle of super successful health coaches has dwindled to some degree, but it's at the end of the day, I mean, how can the average physical therapist name like a whole bunch of physical therapists who are making the kind of money that you're making, right? It's just not there, so it will be really cool to have like the health coach or physical therapist version of like the Tony Robbins where it's synonymous. And we could do that. Probably it could be done. Not maybe it's necessarily me particularly, but there's a possibility of that,
Right. For sure.
So, Aaron, you were fantastic. I appreciate all the information and advice that you had. And I know that not only are you obviously in the physical therapy field, but you could do coaching and consulting to, as you have shown what you were able to do with your wife and her success as well. I want to just give you the opportunity to just, maybe comment on, your availability to health coaches as a resource going forward, and their social media handles, your website, stuff that we can keep abreast. And if we're interested in taking you up on some of the wonderful resources that you have and you could provide as a coach to us as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Omar. I appreciate it. I think the best way to connect with me is on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at Aaron LeBauer. It's AARONLEB as in boy, AUER. And from there, you can see there's a link in there. You can follow me, learn more about business, what we're doing, get to my website. I've got quite a few resources to help people get started in business as well as to grow and scale. We've got a business launch checklist. I've got a free book. I've got programs and courses that are really designed for physical therapists. But the main thing is that physical therapist is just how we deliver a result, and the business principles are the same. So if some of that sounds interesting to you, check them out. I've got free webinars and trainings on how to launch a business, free webinar on how to grow and scale your business. So just a lot of free resources there for you to check out. So follow me on Instagram at Aaron LeBauer. It's the best place to start.
Love it. Love it. Again, Aaron, thank you. Appreciate your time today. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, Omar. Appreciate you inviting me on the show.
Definitely.
Hope you enjoyed listening to today's episode of the Health Coach Academy podcast. If you did, jump over to iTunes and leave a rating and or review. It goes a long way in helping get this message out to our fellow health coaches and people in our industry. Also, if you can, jump over to my website, omarcumberbatch.com, where I give out a lot of freebies, including my 5-day sugar challenge for people who are having issues with sugar. And also for health coaches, I have the book, Hidden. It's the 6 not so obvious ways to get your clients unstuck. Have a great day.